Welcome viewers to another episode of Insight. I'm your host Daniel Hayes here with
Andrew Blackmer.
And we are here to talk to you today about the sequestration. Our show is brought to you by Octech Solutions, your go-to guy for all of your business and home IT needs, as well as Blissful Blessing events for catering, weddings, parties, all that sort of thing. And keep in mind, we are a dynamic current show, so we are giving you current events dynamically. Isn't that right, Andrew?
Oh yeah, ready to go, right?
Good to be back here with you again, buddy.
Good to be back. We had a good show last week. I think we're going to have a good one this week.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, we're going to keep it a little short, you know, about half an hour, a little less, so it doesn't go past the attention span of our ADD, ADHD, distracted generation here.
We're just busy. You know? Some people are married, they've got kids, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in college, or they're trying to juggle classes, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, speaking of college, man, you know, with this sequestration, education's getting cut about 9%, you know, as it looks now, unless they come up with some really good deal to make things a lot better.
There'll be another punt probably like last time.
You think they're going to punt it again?
Maybe. I mean, why not?
I mean,
you can always kick the can down the road, right? Forever. You know, nobody wants to do anything.
But I mean, here's the problem, okay? The lack of action is causing problems right now. We had
the stock market did pretty well today, though, right?
The stock market did pretty well today, but it didn't do well the last couple days.
Well, yeah.
My stocks are up today, okay, but they were down like the last couple days.
Got to pick a good sample size to promote, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so, man. You know, what are you gonna do? But here's the thing. What I'm getting at is this: because they're taking so long to come to any sort of resolution, problems are happening. Okay, businesses, they're unsure about their future, right? You know, there are furloughs, there are layoffs, there are hiring freezes, there are salary freezes, and all this sort of thing is affecting the country as a whole, even though the sequestration hasn't taken place yet, you know, but just the fear of it, the buildup of it, you know, media is pushing it. I mean, we're talking about it, right? You know, but we're not talking about it like everybody else, okay? We're trying to give you the inside scoop, what people aren't really talking about, to give a good explanation about what's going on so that our viewers understand what's happening, and more, well, not more importantly, but equally important, to take action, okay? Just like you were talking in the green room, right?
Right.
Hold politicians' feet to the fire.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you are a Democrat, if you are a Republican, hold your own politicians to the fire, hold opposite party politicians to the fire. I mean, you know, you got to hold everybody to the fire. You know, even if you voted for Obama twice, only one time, doesn't matter. You know, nobody's perfect. There's always something to say to people in power. Right.
You know, rocking the vote is great. We definitely encourage that people take part of the political process in that way. But additionally, don't just let your president or congressperson sit in office and do whatever they want for 2 years or 4 years or however long their term is. Be active, be on them, you know, write letters to your congresspeople, you know, call the White House, do what needs to be done. If you're getting up and out involved in protests or some Occupy Wall Street or Pennsylvania Avenue or what have you, to get your message across about what you want. This is democracy. Okay? People talk about how great democracy is. Well, democracy only works if the people are truly involved in the political process. Otherwise, it's just going to be an autocratic situation or just a great bunch of corruption within the government because of lobbyists and what have you.
Now, what we need to begin with is what actually is this sequestration.
It's the same thing we were talking about before, right?
Yeah. Well,
we had the Fiscal Cliff show.
Yeah,
Watch the other Fiscal Cliff.
Yeah.
It'll explain what it is.
This is the reckoning for the Fiscal Cliff.
We told you we'd be back. We're back. You know what I'm saying?
We said it would be punted to February. Here we are. It is February. It is the end of February, and it's like Christmas Eve, right?
A rose by any other name.
Yeah. March 1st is right around the corner, and that's when the $85 billion in cuts is supposed to kick in.
Yep, 85 billion.
And there are people who are saying that it's going to be devastating. Some people saying it's not going to be devastating.
Yeah.
You know, on CNN or MSNBC, Bob Woodward was on saying that, you know, Obama is taking risks and he's putting the whole country at risk.
Right.
You know, for military expenses going down the tubes.
Right.
It's just all hell's going to break loose, right?
Right.
But I'm not sure that it's that extreme. I don't think we're ready to hit 11 on the
on the doomsday clock.
Yeah. I'm not
Where's
sure
Dr. Manhattan when you need him?
Yeah.
Put things into perspective here. Yeah, let me do my Mark Rubio thing for a minute, okay?
Just don't knock it over later, right?
No, I'm doing this intentionally because what I want to do really is tell the American people that it's very important to be part of the... Just joking, I'm screwing around, right? You know, a little bit of levity in these times of great strain, economic, right? So $85 billion, which is about 2% of the entire budget. Yeah. Okay? Now, here's where this came from, right? You got this deadline, which is coming up and just right around the corner, like you said, which was basically pushed from that beginning of the year fiscal cliff thing. So
which itself was pushed from summer of 2011.
Right. So,
do you remember what went on in the summer of 2011?
Who remembers what happened? That was a crazy summer for a lot of people. But so you've got these cuts, and these deadlines were created with a variety of other options. Okay, this is why the deadline was created. Okay,
right.
So
absolutely.
First, the option is to decide exactly where to cut spending, or option 2 to increase the budget.
Right.
Okay, and then there's option 3, which is going to occur in the next couple days if they don't come up with a plan, and that is across the board $85 billion spending cuts. And the point of this deadline was to make option 3 so bad that they would have to choose some other option. So
originally it was worse, by the way. It was originally supposed to be 120 billion, which 3% now instead of 2, but
right.
But you know, it's supposed to be that, but they carved out all kinds of exemptions for war spending and this and that, which ended up trickling down to $85 billion. You know, which that might be the path they take this time, is let's carve out some more exemptions so that, you know, the actual sequestration will be, you know, a trickle of what the original number was.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. This is what they were trying to do, is say, let's make this deadline hard and fast, and when people go off the cliff, they actually go off the cliff. But, you know, the politicians are like, well, you know, it's a soft deadline. We don't really... It's
terrible.
Yeah.
In my line of work, we don't have soft deadlines. If you don't get it in, you're screwed, man. Well, you lose a lot.
Congress might be the world's oldest children, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. So what's your opinion? Is this just political posturing? I mean, why haven't they come up with a solution in all this time that they've had?
Well, they haven't come up with the solution because they don't need to. I mean, they can kick the can down the road. This is exactly what they did in 2011, right? They wanted a showdown with Obama on the debt ceiling, which is what we started with. They said, all right, well, we'll extend the debt ceiling, but we're going to have to deal with this, and we really mean it. We're going to have to deal with this spending, and we mean it so much that we're going to extend it all the way out to 2012. And then 2012 comes around, and they're like, we really mean it. And then they kick it to 2 months later, and here we are 2 months later. I think they're just going to continue to go down the road.
Okay, but I mean, I think that's a little subjective. You say, because they don't really need to. Well, okay, they don't need to, as in, you know, Newt Gingrich is not going to be thrown into the slammer because he didn't come up with a deal, or Congress people will be fired. But the responsibility is to the people. You know, they have to represent the individuals who are part of their the regions that they represent, right? You know, American people, okay? So, in that sense, they need to, right?
Well, yeah.
Because...
Or they should. We should, yeah.
Otherwise, they're not doing their job.
Right, yeah,
I mean, what is their function? Yeah. What is their purpose here, okay? And even if we talk about what's been going on in the lead up to this, we are, okay, not to throw up too many red flags and alarm everybody, but approaching a recession again, right? I mean, last quarter we had negative GDP growth. 2 quarters of negative GDP growth equal a recession.
Okay.
So, I mean, if that happens again with, you know, all of the fears that this manufactured crisis has incurred, then, hey, we're right back where we started almost.
Well, some people think we never really got out of the first recession.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's, you know, what's, you know, but that's neither here nor there. What the point is that you're right, that you have a lot of posturing by the politicians, but they don't have to, they can kick the can down the road, and the alternative, which is to make hard choices, is unappealing.
Mm.
Because if you decide, whether you decide taxes go up or the budget gets cut or some combination therein, that means somebody's going to get squeezed, either with higher taxes or lower benefits or services or a contract that they used to get and they're not going to get anymore, or a smaller contract. So there's no painless option here. So what they're doing is they're postponing the pain. You know, it's like, don't take the Band-Aid off of me yet, you know, because it's going to hurt me. That's what they're doing, basically, is that they can do it, and they're going to, you know, continue.
These cuts, I don't believe, are that difficult to make. Okay, now I'm just playing the game here, all right? I'm putting myself in their shoes, thinking inside their box, okay? After the break, we'll talk about thinking outside of the box, okay? Now, any person in any home that runs things has a limited amount of resources and has to allocate that money, okay? This is no different, okay? Now, if you're going to spend money for college, if you're going to spend money on groceries, if you're going to give money to your parents, if you want to live in a particular place, you know, those limited resources, you allocate accordingly to the things that are most important, i.e. you prioritize, okay?
Absolutely.
You put money into the things that are most needed, okay, which would certainly be different from this fiscal cliff sequester that's about to come up, where they just do across-the-board cuts of everything, right?
Mm.
Let's do it a little smarter. Let's pick out the pieces that need it. Let's pick out the pieces that don't need it. Put monies where they're supposed to go, okay? Now, I gotta tell you, man, I'm really disappointed with the way things are going, and I think a lot of this has to do with lobbyists, right? I mean, we were talking about that.
That has a lot to do with it, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we've got over 12,000 lobbyists right here in the D.C. metropolitan area. Mm. What is the deal with that? That's like 23 lobbyists per congressperson. I mean, think about it. If you have people who have influence over your representatives, and their motives are to keep money that they're getting or get more money in the form of tax breaks for the wealthy, for corporations,
for regular people,
maintaining contracts.
Yeah. I mean, what about the tax breaks for putting in better windows, right? Environmentally green windows, right? I mean, that's another tax break.
Yeah.
Whether we agree with it or not, I mean, that's another form of lobbying that carves out another niche in the budget, in the tax code, and it all piles up. It's not just one lobbyist, two lobbyist groups, or whatever. It's all of this stuff as a whole, right? That weighs over time and creates a problem.
Sure it is. Sure it is. You know, my problem is this: the government is supposed to be interested in the good of the public. Corporations are driven by their own desire to make profits, okay? Sure. It's self-interest versus the interest of the public, okay? That's why the government's here. And once the government gets influenced by self-interest, everything's all higgledy-piggledy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but a lot of that has to do with, where do these politicians come from, mm-hmm. right? I mean, it's not that corporations are buying off necessarily congressmen, out of the sky. A lot of they're targeting politicians that they might have relationships with. Maybe I used to work at Goldman Sachs or something, and now I'm a congressman, and I have that personal relationship baggage that I bring with me as a lawmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to talk a little bit more about what's really going on and what ought to be done after our break, okay? We'll be back with you in a moment.